Hare Krishna and welcome. We are starting again, almost finishing our Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam deep dive study into really wonderful first canto of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and really wonderful second chapter. And so now this is a kind of conclusive verse. We are on the 28th and 29th verse. And it's addressing who is the object of all this bhakti. Bhakti is said is being glorified as most effective. Here, who's the object of all this bhakti? Om Namo Bhagavate Vāsudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vāsudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vāsudevaya. So, again, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, first canto, chapter 2, text number 28 and 29. Vāsudeva Paraveda, Vāsudeva Paramakaha, Vāsudeva Parayoga, Vāsudeva Parakriyaha, Vāsudeva Param Jnānam, Vāsudeva Param Tapaha, Vāsudeva Paro Dharmo, Vāsudeva Paragatihi. All right, so let's see. Maybe I can share my screen. Hold on. I'm going to go to the word for word quiz that's on here, word meanings. Where is it? Oh. So this is something I learned just, I learned while going through this one. So question 1. So I won't give you question 1. Okay, Connor Freeman, welcome. Welcome, Connor. Welcome. So as you may see here, question 1. Oh, what is it doing there? Go to a little bigger. A little bigger for everybody to see. Sometimes people are using phones, so I like to zoom up a little bit. Question 1, para. Vāsudeva para Veda. As we looked at the verse, it was a lot of paras there. Para, and then para. 6 para, and then only 2 params. And then when I was looking at it, I learned that actually these para and params are actually different. They're not exactly the same. There's sometimes a little bit of overlap, but not really. So para means for the sake of, or it's a verb in that kind of vein. Where param, like what can you think of a word with param in it?
Parampara.
Parampara. That's got both of it. Isn't it? It's got parampara. It's got both the words in it. Another one, param atma. Param atma. Paramatma. Purusha. Yeah, that param. Yeah. Param. Yeah, usually means super. But here, para, where there's a long a at the end, is for the sake of. We got it correct. Okay, next. And param means the ultimate supreme super. That's correct. Makaha. What is Makaha? Any guess? Anyone want to guess? I didn't put any choices. Good chance to get it right. 50-50. We haven't come across this word.
The sacrifice?
So,
Sacrifice?
Sacrifice, yes. Buka is space, so I put it there because it sounds similar. So sacrifice. I'm just putting the words that are a little less familiar. Like I didn't put yoga, Veda, the other ones. And Kriya. Kriya means ritualistic activities. There's not how many words in this verse, so just repeating. And that's correct. Tapa. What is that one? 3 choices.
Is it penance and austerity?
Yes. Perfect. Yeah.
I like these quizzes.
Yeah. I hope to make it for each one, so we can always be fresh and up to date on all the meaning of the words. So back to the verse. A little brief. I think I made the increase the size of the font for the verse, so we wouldn't have to do this zoom in and see if it works. Okay. I think I already did that. Okay. So Vāsudeva Paraveda. So for the Vedas, he's the ultimate goal for the Vedas, or he's we're said for worshiping, ultimate. What did we put in that quiz? For the sake of. That was what we put. So he is the ultimate goal of the Vedas. Vāsudeva Paramakaha. He is what's for sacrifice. Sacrifices are for him. He is the object of the sacrifice. Vāsudeva Para Yoga. Let's hear it. Yoga is for realizing him. It's not for buns of steel or abs of steel. Vāsudeva Para Yoga. Vāsudeva Para Kriyaha. All our ritualistic ceremonies, these kind of karmic rituals, they're actually only ultimately supplied by him. He's giving the rewards. So kriya is referring to karmic kind of religious activities. Vāsudeva Param Jnānam. So he is the supreme knowledge. Vāsudeva Param Tapaha. And this seems like it's the same kind of vein as this Param. Although it means best, it seems like it's the same vein as the Para, for the sake of. The austerities are for the sake of him, knowing him. Vāsudeva Paro Dharma. The highest Dharma is for him. Dharma is meant for, connecting to him with love. And Vāsudeva Para Gatihi. I should put this word here also. I don't think this is such a common word, isn't it? Gatihi. This is the goal, when you get to the finish line. I'll add that word there. Purport. That Krishna, the personality of God, is the only object of worship is confirmed in 2 shlokas. In the Vedic literature, there's the same objective: establishing one's relationship and ultimately reviving our lost loving service unto him. That is the sum and substance of the Vedas. In the Bhagavad Gita, same theory is confirmed by the Lord in his ultimate words. The ultimate purpose of the Vedas is to know him. Does anybody know where this line is from? If anybody, it might sound familiar because of chapter 15. So, Sarvascha Jaham, Sridishani Vishto Matasmit Yajñānam, Apohanam Cha, Vidishta Sarvir, Aham Radio, Vedanta Veda Vede, Vichaham, the ultimate purpose of all the Vedas, I am to be known. That's also from the verse. I'm the compiler of the Vedas. In the body of Srila Vāsudeva, just to remind fallen conditioned souls. He is Shakti Avesh avatar, therefore I think that's why he said in the body. So he's empowering that soul through his body, empowering him to carry out powerful, conditioned by the material nature of Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. So remind the fallen souls of Krishna. No demigod can award freedom from material bondage. So there's many different slokas in many ancient literatures that affirm this. And that is the verdict of all Vedic literatures, that there's plenty of evidence of that. The impersonalists who have no information of the personality of Godhead minimize the omnipotency of the Supreme Lord and put him on an equal footing of all other living beings. And for this act, such impersonalists get freedom from material bondage only with great difficulty. That's also, this is from chapter 12. Arjuna asks this question: who is better situated in yoga? The one who is approaching you with devotion, or the one who is approaching you in your impersonal form? He says, yeah, they're both great. Oh, but the one who is approaching in devotion is yoga vittama. He is highly situated in yoga. And he describes the one who is not approaching in devotion. It's difficult almost to the point of impossible. You know, it's like how many arms does Durga have usually? Is it 2 or is it a lot more? Do you usually see? What do you see? Durga, gachati. Gachati means to go, and dur means difficult. So she is the one who is making our progress, or she's basically keeping us in this material bound and making our way to get out very difficult. That's her job. Her actually thankless task. She's Durga. So that's in English you would call that the superintendent of the prison, the person who the warden, keeping you there, making it difficult to get out. So Durga, and you come up with your 2 arms and say, I'm going to take you out. You're going to hold me here. And she comes up with her, 16 arms or 20 arms or so many different arms, and she's got you on all sides. You might have one arm going like that, another arm like that, and then you got another 15 coming back at you. So to tackle the material energy by oneself is practically to the point of impossible. What is the verse in the 7th chapter? Daiviyesha gunamayi daiviyesha. This divine energy of my energy, gunamayi, mama maya, this illusory energy of mine, duratyaya, very difficult to deal with, difficult to overcome. And the second half of the verse is the opposite. Mameviye prapadyante, one who surrenders unto me, mayetam, tarantite, can easily cross beyond it. Okay, so one may argue that the Vedic activities are based on sacrificial ceremonies. That is true. So Vāsudeva paramakaha, sacrifices are all there. That is true, but all such sacrifices are meant for realizing the truth about Vāsudeva. Another name for Vāsudeva is Yajña. He is the Yajña Purusha. So if one studies the Vedas, you'll find that he is the object of Yajña. You have a famous verse in the Bhagavad Gita, last verse of the 5th chapter, called the Peace Formula. And that is, what is that verse? 529. Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Surhidam Sarvabhutanam Jattvamam Shantim Richati. So he is the Bhokta, the ultimate enjoyer of the sacrifice, the object of the sacrifice, the ultimate being whom you are actually petitioning and receiving benediction from. Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam. So if you're practicing karma kanda, Vishnu is the object. If you're practicing austerity, tapasam, Vishnu is the object. Now, if you're more into jnana, knowledge, instead of just the fruitive kind of things, sarvaloka maheshwaram. Well, Krishna is saying he is the of jnana. We learn about the sambandha, how everything is run, and we find that actually he owns all the planets. Sarvaloka maheshwaram, and he is the Ishvar, the controller of all planets. And Sushridam Sarvabhutanam, he is the great friend of all living entities. So that's relating to bhakti. So another name for Lord Vāsudeva is Yajña, and in the Bhagavad Gita it's clearly stated that all sacrifices are conducted for the satisfaction of Yajña or Vishnu, the personality of God. I think that's chapter 2. That's a nice verse there. And this is the case also with the yoga systems. Yoga means to get in touch with the Supreme Lord. The process, however, includes several bodily features such as asana, Jñāna, pranayama, and meditation. All of them are meant for concentrating on the localized aspect of Vāsudeva, represented as the Paramatma. So yoga is not like a type of Buddhistic meditation where you try to make your mind empty. It is a focus on the Lord within the heart, Paramatma. Paramatma realization is but partial realization of Vāsudeva. And if one is successful in that attempt, one realizes Vāsudeva in full. But it is by ill luck that yogis are stranded by the powers of mysticism, achieved through the bodily process. So if by chance, now this is not really related to yogis of what is called, what we, people often call themselves yogis, which is not a very humble thing. It's like saying I'm a saint. Yogi is a very elevated thing. And those who are actually in this elevated process and they're actually successful, they will attain powers of mysticism. The ill-fated yogis are given a chance, and here it says they're stranded by the powers, meaning like it becomes a great hurdle for them because it is an attachment. Ill-fated yogi. I imagine if you had the power to fly, would you want to give it up? I mean, if you had a private jet, would you want to give it up? Would you want to give up all the these wonderful things you already have now? But to speak of having opulences that other humans could not even conceive of. The ill-fated yogis are given a chance in the next birth by being placed in families of good learned brahmanas or in the family of rich merchants in order to execute the unfinished task of Vāsudeva realization. So this is Krishna is referring to here, and Prabhupada is referring here to the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna asked this question: what if somebody doesn't finish? What if somebody doesn't what if somebody doesn't attain 100% success in their path? What happens to them? Does anybody know what is Krishna's answer to Arjuna's question? Welcome, Carmen G.
Haribo. Sorry, I'm late. I couldn't get in. For some reason, I needed a passcode and I kept trying and trying and trying. And for some reason, now it's
Oh,
let me in.
oh my God. Same thing Dana K had to do. I'll talk to Jamie because he helps with that link. So maybe he can turn off the passcode feature or something.
Okay.
Now, Dana K, if you recognize any of the things that was in Carmen's background, I know it was really briefly, but she is in my old house.
Oh,
The
how cool is that?
old house has been turned into Krishna house.
Oh, no way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a painter that came. She painted this on the wall.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
That's neat.
Yeah.
Oh,
See? There's the deities.
yes.
Is she wearing a tie?
Mm. Wow.
Yeah.
There you go.
Jnāna.
Who's
That's
that?
a
Oh, okay. Haribo.
No, Krishna house. Haribo.
And Subhadra is now in one of the doors. Jagannath and Balaram are upstairs. The kitchen.
So beautiful.
Yes. Upstairs are the boys' dormitories. And then look, there's Balaram. Jagannath is up there. Subhadra is on this door.
Nice, nice. Oh, cool. She painted on the door. Nice, nice.
Yeah. And then going in there's the women's side.
So does anybody know the answer to Arjuna's question?
Wait, what was his question?
He asked, what if somebody practices spiritual life and they just give it up? What happens to them? If they lost everything and then they're just doomed? Kind of like he gives an example of a cloud. If you have a little tiny cloud and if it doesn't connect with a big cloud, then it'll just kind of fade away. It won't get anywhere. And so he asked this question, and it's kind of in the context of somebody in like the Vedic culture who may have given up doing like material karmic fruitive activities, and instead dedicate himself to spiritual activities. So he gave up the good karmic activities like the fruitive rituals and stuff, and then he gave up spiritual life. So is he just lost like a ribbon cloud? Does anybody know what was Krishna's answer? Chapter 6.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Didn't Krishna answer by saying that no spiritual progress goes to waste?
Exactly. Yes. So there's a little bit of that in, I think, chapter 4. And again, he repeats it here. He says that there's chapter 4, there's no loss and diminution. And then here he says, anything done spiritually good is never overcome by evil. And such a person takes birth in the place of families of good learned brahmanas, or yogis, or the family of rich merchants. Now, why rich merchants? Because if you go to India, you'll find that the aristocratic businessmen are very, very spiritual and religious. So that basically they're given a birth in such a way that the situation will help them to continue where they left off. They'll be given opportunities as such. And if such a fortunate brahmana or sons of rich men properly utilize the chance, they can easily realize Vāsudeva by good association with saintly persons. So yeah, in India you'll find many very wealthy, but also very spiritual and religious. They understand that if I do good religious and spiritual or kriya things or even devotional things, it benefits me in the future. So even if it's fruitive, that's the direction they go to increase their fruit of gain. It's like, let me find it through the grace of God. Unfortunately, such preferred persons are captivated by material wealth and honor. So that's it. It's risky business there. I'll just do it again my next slide. Risky business. Unless they practically forget the aim of life. This is also for the culture of knowledge. In the Bhagavad Gita, there are 18 items of culturing knowledge. Let's see, is that? I was just quoting, it does not show what verse. I think that's chapter 13. By such culture of knowledge, one comes to gratitude, pridelessness, devoid of vanity, non-violence, forbearing. Okay, so giving the list right here. Simple, devoted to the spiritual master, and self-control. Some of it. By culture of knowledge, one becomes unattached to hearth and home and becomes conscious of miseries due to death, disease, birth, old age, and disease. I think this is also part of that list. All culture of knowledge cultivates in devotional service of personality of Godhead Vāsudeva. Yeah, I think these are all of these are items of that third part of those list. Therefore, Vāsudeva is the ultimate aim in culturing different branches of knowledge. So what is called Jñāna is also when Krishna says, I declare all these to be Jñāna, knowledge. And it's more of like what it says here, the process of knowledge or the culture of knowledge, meaning if you apply these things, you'll be more knowledgeable, you'll be more clear. If you apply simplicity, not duplicity. Simplicity doesn't mean like being like what do you call the Appalachian hick or something. Doesn't mean I'm so simple. My brain doesn't think about anything. It just means not duplicitous. That what's inside your heart and what's coming outside your mouth and how you behave, it's all very clear. It's not so many different things. Self-controlled, free from arrogance, vanity, non-violent, not hostile, compassionate, forbearing. So these things culture one's knowledge, leading one on the transcendental plane of meeting Vāsudeva is real knowledge. And that list, it says it ends with the real spiritual item, is that connection to God. As we read in the previous verse, that there is sattvam yad brahma darshanam. Sattvam is by which we can see spirit. Means it's like the example is given is you can sit by the window, and if you're by the window, you can actually observe. You can have a clear you can see clearly what is the outside, even though you're not necessarily there. You can have a clear idea of what it is. So someone who is in sattva, they have a clear idea what is spirituality. They're really situated in sattva. Someone who is in rajas, it's more like they're inside the house, or maybe there's no windows, but at least there may be some sound from outside. They have some idea what's going on outside. So they have some idea what is spiritual activity. And tamas is kind of like being in a soundproof room. You have no clear understanding of the outside world. So you have no clear understanding of spiritual reality. Physical knowledge in its various branches is condemned in the Bhagavad Gita as ajñāna, the opposite of real knowledge. Yes, Carmen's got her hand up. Let's see.
So sattva is goodness, rajas is passion, and tamas is ignorance?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
That's it?
Yeah, I was just trying to get a understanding, because I know we speak about this a lot in the classes, but for some reason my mind forgets what tamas is and rajas and sattva, and I have a hard time like remembering what is what because it's Sanskrit.
Yes. The Tattva. Sattvam Vishuddham. That's pure goodness. That's beyond even sattva. But sattva is, that clear state. Rajas is agitating. Rajas is driven with a desire to build and conquer and be bigger and greater, powerful, successful. And tamas is darkness, illusion, forgetfulness, covering.
Okay.
The ultimate aim of physical knowledge is to satisfy the senses, which means prolongation of the term of material existence. So as long as we are just chasing after the sensual thing, then we produce more karma, and then we have to receive the results of such karma, and then we produce more karma, and then we have to receive the results of such karma, whether it's good karma, bad karma. We're continuing our sentence in this world in either a first-class cell, a second-class cell, or a third-class cell. We're like in different areas of the prison, but we're staying in the prison. The same physical knowledge leading to the way of spiritual understanding helps one end miserable life of physical existence and begin life of spiritual existence. So here, what it sounds like is they're talking about physical knowledge is in this. Oh, okay. So in the Bhagavad Gita, I think it's like chapter 2 or 3, Krishna tells Arjuna, don't be bewildered by the flowery language of the Vedas that promises this delight and that delight and this delight. So in the Vedas, it talks about a lot of, fruitive activities, kriya. And it talks about, doing sacrifices and fruitive activities. And there's a lot of enticement to do these things for material benefits. But the whole point is it's supposed to gradually bring you towards devotion. Gradually bring you towards devotion. And here it's saying, so just the material side of it is darkness. But if it does lead to devotion, it leads to from karma to jnana to bhakti. And yes, yay. Same thing applies for austerities. Like Gandhi, he was doing austerities, but it was just a political thing. It was not even a spiritual thing. It was, doing austerities, like some of the, I'll fast for this or that. But it's not even addressing the heart of all these issues that we face in our society and life. It has to, if you really want to change things, it has to go deeper than just one particular political topic. It's got to be addressing the consciousness side of it. Tapasya means voluntarily acceptance of bodily pains to achieve some higher end of life. So one example would be fasting, bodily pain, discomfort, or that's a big example. That's a common example. Ravana and Hiranyakashipu underwent severe types of bodily torture. So they were doing this yogic austerities, just sitting day in, day after day after day after day, to year after year after year in meditation. And it was type of bodily torture. But what was their aim? They wanted just gratification. They wanted powers to control others and to become, lords of this world. Okay, I think it's kind of relating to Gandhi here. Sometimes modern politicians, he's not saying his name, but that's, you understand. This is one example. Undergo severe types of austerities to achieve some political end. But this is not actually tapasya. One should accept bodily inconvenience for the sake of knowing God, Vāsudeva, because that is the real way of real austerities. Otherwise, all forms of austerities are classified in the lower rajas and tamas, passion and ignorance. You know, passion and ignorance cannot end the miseries of life. But, you know, the mode of goodness can mitigate the threefold miseries of life. Vāsudeva and Devaki, the so-called mother and father of Krishna, they say so-called, because Krishna, it was said to simultaneously take birth to Nanda and Yashoda, underwent penances to get Vāsudeva as their son. Lord Krishna is the father of all living beings. Therefore, he is original living being of all living beings. He is the original eternal enjoyer among all other enjoyers. Oh, this is a referring to. See, the thing is, Prabhupada's sentences, practically every sentence, you can find the shloka for it. That's why we have these classes, so we can enter what is called the shloka verse. Like, you know, if you watch Miles Morales and Spider-Man, he went in the latest movie, he went into this in the Spider-Verse, and he saw how all their lives were connected with similar themes. And he saw, and it was like they called it a Spider-Verse because it was like a thread that spread throughout all their lives. And it was, you know, one universe to the next universe. So we entered now. What are we doing? We're entering the shloka verse. And we're seeing how all these different verses are connecting to each other. So every sentence Srila Prabhupada's writing is a shloka, pretty much. Here he is the original eternal enjoyer amongst all other enjoyers. So that's Nityo Nityanam, Chaitanas Chaitananam, or that's kind of related to that one. There no one can be his begetting father, as the ignorant may think. So Krishna's eternal, so he doesn't have, nobody made him come into existence. Lord Krishna agreed to become the son of Vāsudeva and Devaki because of their tapas, of they're being pleased with their austerities, severe austerities. Therefore, so what are some austerities we do as Hare Krishnas, as Vaishnavas? Carmenji.
We wake up early, like really early.
That's a good one, yeah.
We also give up certain, I guess, like activities that lots of people find as sense gratification.
Okay,
like,
yes.
Like eating meat, intoxication, and you know, like.
And there's some fasting days too. There's some days where we try to, for those who follow Kadashi, that's no grains, no beans, twice a month. That's an austerity. It sounds like, oh, that's easy. But you see, the mind will be actually, I think, according to astrology, the mind is more driven to enjoy grains and beans on that day. You want, and therefore, every other day, you're like eating nanakad, you're eating like the fast food, not fast food, but fasting like food, no grains, no beans. But on the day of Ekadashi, you're like so hungry for something like with rice or bread or etc. Okay, continuing on. Vāsudeva is the original personality of Godhead. Lord Krishna has explained before, the original personality of Godhead expands himself by innumerable forms. Such expansions are made possible by his various energies. His energies are multifarious, and his energies are superior, and external energies are inferior in quality. They're explained in the Bhagavad Gita as para and para prakriti, apara prakriti. Spiritual or supreme or inferior. So you have the spiritual material and spiritual energy of Krishna, that is the soul, and you have the inferior energy of Krishna, that is matter. So this expansion of various forms take place in the eternal energy. The internal energies of the superior forms, whereas the expansions that take place are So his expansions of various forms, which take place via the internal energies, are his superior form. Where the expansions that take place via the external energies, there's inferior form. The living entities are also his expansion. Living entities who are expanded by his internal potency are eternally liberated persons. Whereas those who are expanded in terms of material energies are internally conditioned souls. So you have Krishna, he has his own form that as such we've looked at in previous purports, and then he has eternal expanded complete forms and expanded small forms or incomplete forms. Those are the souls. And here, when they're expanding, if they're in the spiritual realm or they're expanded through his internal potency, those are the souls in the spiritual world who are pure. And then when we're in the material energy, we're called Nityabhata, eternally conditioned souls. That we've been here forever. It says eternally because we cannot actually trace the time that we've been in this world. We've been here for time immemorial, and there's been many creations and destructions that we've survived through. Therefore, all cultural knowledge, austerity, sacrifice, and activity to be aimed at changing the quality of the influence that's acting upon us. For the present, we're being controlled by the external energy of the Lord, and just to change the quality of the influence, we must endeavor to cultivate spiritual energy. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that those who are Mahatmas, or whose minds have been so broadened as to engage in the service of the Lord Krishna, are under the influence of his internal potency, Mahatmana Samamparta, Daivam Prakritim Ashrita. Every single sentence, you got a verse. And the effect of such broad-minded living beings are constantly engaged in the service of the Lord without deviation. Param Bhavamajantam Maheshwar. That should be the aim of life. That is the verdict of all Vedic literatures. No one should bother himself with karmic activities or dry speculation about transcendental knowledge. Everyone should engage himself. At once engage himself in loving devotional service to the Lord. No one should worship different demigods. Again, this is kind of why would someone do this? This is for fruitive methods, who work as different hands of the Lord of creation, maintenance and destruction of the material world. If you want to be fruitive, just approach the Lord, because then you get the best of both worlds. You can achieve your fruitive desire, but you could also purify your consciousness and achieve the benefit of devotion. There are innumerable powerful demigods who look over the external management of the material world. They're all different hands assisting Lord Vāsudeva. Even Lord Krishna, Lord Shiva, and Lord Brahma are included in the list of demigods. But Lord Vishnu, or Vāsudeva, is always transcendently situated. Even though he accepts the quality of goodness of the material world, he is still transcendental to all the material modes. Following example will clear that matter more explicitly. Okay, here we go. In the prison house, there are prisoners and managers of the prison house. Both managers and prisoners are bound by the laws of the king. But even though the king sometimes comes to the prison, he is not bound by the laws of the prison house. It's a little different from, modern kind of governmental understanding. The king is considered actually, he has a sovereignty, this great king is therefore always transcendental to the laws of the prison house, as the Lord is always transcendental to the laws of the material world. Many reflections? Okay, so I won't read all this, but we'll just go over this quick. But the demigods and forefathers are worshipped in the Vedas. What's wrong with them? And then he gives so many references. Actually, it's all meant to go towards Vishnu. Bhagavatam references. But isn't it seen that the Vedas are concerned with sacrifice and yoga? Yes. And then he gives so many evidence that it will. we can read all these evidences separately if you want. It's all pointing us deeper and higher towards the Lord. It's like here, as it says, Yata taro mula neshtinena. Lord, the Lord is the root. If we really want, if we want even the material things, He's, it doesn't come from watering the leaf; it comes from watering the root. And the benefit, the Jnāna and Tapas, what is called the yoga of knowledge and the austerities, all these things that we do, all these different types of religious activities and different kind of parts of the Vedas, they don't go anywhere without actually the Lord sanctioning them. Not only sanctioning, He is the one that facilitates it. All right. Up for a second, see if there's any reflections there. Connor, can you remind me where you're calling in from? If you're free. Sometimes people are driving.
Hello.
Hey, yes. What's up?
Inside.
How's it going?
It's going well. Thank you for this. It was very nice.
Thank you. Thank you. Any reflections? Connor's a local East Coaster.
Yes. Well,
He travels the world.
Yeah. This verse really
Botswana.
stood out to me because it kind of lists all these different like paths, like the path of yoga, the path of performing sacrifice, the path of fruitive activities, and that it's all aimed towards realizing Krishna.
And sometimes it's a little easier pill for most people. We just say God, because then we're like, well, why Krishna? Why him? But yeah, all these spiritual things are meant to reconnect the soul in a loving relationship with God, and not for petitioning the angels, the demigods, for give me this, give me that. Not for that. It's not for getting powers, mystical powers. It's not for getting oneself in a powerful body in their next life as an angel themselves. It's not for to become greatly knowledgeable and have great mind control. It's all pointing us and pushing us towards this thing of love and devotion. Any more? Connor G?
Any more?
So you're done, Connor? Any reflections? Questions? All right. Carmen G, yes.
Okay, so what you just said, I learned in Houston from one of the classes that everything in the material world is meant to facilitate you to go back to Godhead. And that's one of the nice things about the material world being the material world, because Krishna extends himself in many ways, through Guru, through the Vedas, through his prasad, through the devotees, so on and so forth. And even though we don't own anything here in the material world, he doesn't own our love. So we can use these things to help, give back to him in loving devotional service. So it's really sweet. And one of the nice things about this world being temporary is it helps you see different opportunities to serve Krishna and the devotees. So then it makes change a little bit, feel a little less dramatic.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
The little, there's I think it was Burijan Prabhu in his Bhagavad Gita study guide. He presented a little progression. How, one may ask, well, if Bhagavad Gita is not so much, saying, oh yeah, you should worship this goddess because if you worship this goddess, she'll give you like a good spouse, and you should worship that God, and he will, he'll make some money flow into your pocket. Why is Bhagavad Gita critiquing and some of the things that are previously presented in other Vedic literatures? Well, if it's not the highest, or why would it be there in the first place at all? Like, why would the worship of the different members of the universal government be there if the whole idea is not to bribe these government officials? And so a simple example can be given. Just imagine if somebody had never, like, they grew up in a little Aborigine village, and they never. Oh, Connor, you gotta go. I was hoping you hear this one. This is a cool example. Heading out.
I'll stay for a little bit longer. I'll push it. Sorry.
Okay. All right. So imagine there's these Aborigines that are there. They've never seen any kind of appliance technology, and somebody comes and they have a battery-powered solar generator. And they bring a microwave, and they said, you just press this button, that button, put your food in, and it comes out hot. And due to, they have a little bit of shraddha, a little bit of faith, and they try it out, and then their faith actually turns into actual realization that, what this guy said worked. I put food in this thing and it came out hot. This works. What else do you got? And so the guy comes by, some other time he comes by and he presents like he has an electric refrigerator, he has a stove, he has all these things, and because it's working, they're willing to dive into other things, other appliances, and willing to like give their attention in that way. So similarly in the Vedic culture, somebody will be presented, do this sacrifice, and the rain will come. And boom, that's how it worked in the old days. The rain would come. Do the sacrifice, and you will have this, you will have that. Boom. Therefore, do the sacrifice, and because the faith would grow in even the small things, and they were like, do the sacrifice, and you could have, you could enjoy the heavenly planets and have, a couple hundred girlfriends. Like, yes, I'm going to do that. But still, it's not spiritual. It's still like a religious thing for a material desire. But because they're hearing from the saintly, the brahmanas, the sastra, gradually deeper things come out. And so they hear, oh, wait a minute, Lord Indra, he is the king of all the demigods, and he has troubles. Maybe being born in my next life in the best possible material body is not the best thing. Maybe I should seek liberation, freedom from birth and death. So then he steps out of the Karma Kanda section of the Vedas, and then he enters into the Jnana Kanda. And then if he hears more and more, then he may begin to hear that there's something beyond just being liberated, something beyond just being free from the material experience. And that the joy of devotion is billions and billions and billions of times better. One drop of that joy is billions and billions times better than the ocean of pleasure that the soul experiences in Brahma Nirvana and spiritual liberation. And so there's this gradual progression that is there. And therefore it is okay if somebody is in these materialistic ritualist, materialistic, religious kind of activity, our job is not to mind of the ignorance. Just encourage them in devotion. So don't say, hey, all this stuff is stupid, what you're doing, trying to get, just add a little devotion there, and then the whole thing becomes gradually cleaner and pure and higher. Make sense? Connergy, look at him now, listen. Is he frozen or am I frozen?
You were breaking up a
Thank
little
you.
bit.
I heard
Me?
most of it though. It was mostly your picture frozen. But yes, that makes sense.
Sorry. All right. Are you going to Bhakti Center later on today?
No. I didn't know there was something at the Bhakti Center later today.
Saturday, they have the Soul Talk, the Kirtan class dinner.
Okay. I was actually, a friend recommended I go to Matchless Gifts later today.
Yeah, that's cool.
I might go.
Right around the corner. Yeah.
Yeah, right around the corner. So
Yeah.
I'll be
It's
there.
so cool out there, like just right there.
Yeah.
All right, so now we'll just start practicing. You don't, if you need to go, Connor, thanks for being here.
I do. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. All right, so let me pull up my screen again. Vāsudeva Parabheda. Okay, let me pull it up. Although it's 2 verses, I find it to be not too hard. You guys tell me how you find it to be. Vāsudeva Parabheda. Vāsudeva Paramakaha. Okay, I want to hear it. I want to give it a recital. Someone was asking me right now if I was going to be there tonight for the Soul Talk, so I was just responding.
Vāsudeva Parabheda.
Vāsudeva Parabheda. Vāsudeva Paramakaha.
Vāsudeva Paramakaha.
Vāsudeva Parayoga.
Vāsudeva Parayoga.
Vāsudeva Parakriyaha.
Vāsudeva Parakriya.
Okay, so give it a shot. See if you can do it several times, and then see if you can do it with your eyes closed. It's all about remembering the order: Veda, Makaha, Yoga, Kriya, and then there's the second line. It's different. It goes Vāsudeva Param Jnānam, which I think it kind of helps because it's not exactly the same.
Vāsudeva Parabheda. Vāsudeva Paramakaha. Vāsudeva Parayoga. Vāsudeva Parakriya.
Vāsudeva Param Jnānam. Vāsudeva Param Tapaha. Vāsudeva Paro Dharmo. Vāsudeva Paragatihi.
Vāsudeva Param Jnānam. Vāsudeva Param Tapa. Vāsudeva Paro Dharmo, Vāsudeva Paragatahi.
Okay. You want to give it a shot, Carmen?
Sure. Vāsudeva Paraveda, Vāsudeva Paramakaha, Vāsudeva Parayoga, Vāsudeva Parakriyaha, Vāsudeva Param Jnānam, Vāsudeva Param Tapaha, Vāsudeva Paro Dharma, Vāsudeva Paragatihi.
Nice, nice. You know what? I like to go like on the second verse. I like to go even higher. Like Vāsudeva Paraveda, Vāsudeva Paramakaha, Vāsudeva Parayoga, Vāsudeva Parakriyaha, Vāsudeva Param Jnānam, Vāsudeva Param Tapaha, Vāsudeva Paro Dharma, Vāsudeva Paragatihi.
Interesting. Vāsudeva Param Jnānam, Vāsudeva Param.
Start from the beginning. Start from the beginning, and then you can kind of know. Because if you ever read like sometimes they have the Bhagavad Gita birthday, the Gita Jayanti day, where they recite the whole Gita, and if they always, it's nice to have like a little, like sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. Yeah.
Yeah, those days are really nice. It's definitely an austerity to sit for many hours straight, trying to do the homework. Yeah, it's very nice. Okay. Vāsudeva Paraveda, Vāsudeva Paramakaha, Vāsudeva Parayoga, Vāsudeva Parakriyaha, and then
Vāsudeva Param Jnānam,
Jnānam,
Vāsudeva Param Tapaha,
Vāsudeva Param Tapaha,
Vāsudeva Paro Dharmo,
Vāsudeva Paro Dharma,
Vāsudeva Paragatihi. Now who's
Vāsudeva Paragatihi.
Hare Krishna?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Welcome back.
Well, thank you.
You joined in a little bit earlier, isn't it?
Yeah. I joined in earlier. My name is Narottam Nitai Das also. But it's just I'm driving, so
Yeah. Where do you live?
I live in Michigan. Work in the auto industry. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What about you? Where are you guys located?
I'm in Brooklyn. Carmen's now in Dallas. Dana Kate is in Florida. We had Connor here. He was also in New York.
Sure. I'm happy you're. Yeah. Anyways, just driving.
Vāsudeva Paraveda. So, Dana K, you want to give it a shot again? Any of you think you can do some lines with your eyes closed?
Wait, I'm sorry, were you talking to me?
Yeah, anybody here? Anybody feel like you're ready to chant with your eyes closed?
Probably the first, not the first line, but like the first section, but the second section, not yet.
Okay, go for it.
Vāsudeva Paraveda, Vāsudeva Paramakaha, Vāsudeva Parayoga, Vāsudeva Parakriyaha.
You got it. You did it with your eyes closed?
Yes.
Oh, okay, you got it. Ooh, awesome. Do it again.
Vāsudeva Paraveda, Vāsudeva Paramakaha, Vāsudeva Parayoga, Vāsudeva Parakriyaha.
Vāsudeva Param Jnānam, Vāsudeva Param Tapaha, Vāsudeva Paro Dharma, Vāsudeva Paragatihi. I'm going to try the second line.
Probably not the way you just did it.
Okay, you sing however you want to sing it. Yeah.
Vāsudeva param Jñānam, Vāsudeva param Tapa, Vāsudeva. I don't know the last two.
Gotcha.
Vāsudeva.
Paro
Vāsudeva
Dharma.
Dharma, Vāsudeva Parakratihi.
It says easier than our other verses, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's because like the first and second, it's like pretty similar to each other. It's just like the last bit and then the last four, like for the second
Yeah.
like word, it just like shifts a little bit.
Okay, Dana K, you want to give it a shot?
Vāsudeva para Veda. Vāsudeva para Magaha. Vāsudeva para Yoga. Vāsudeva para Kriya. I had to look at the last one.
Oh, okay. Give it again. Try it again. Try it again.
Vāsudeva para Veda. Vāsudeva para Akaha. Vāsudeva para Yoga. Vāsudeva para Kriya.
Okay. So a question. So next week, because we do a verse per week, but next week, then that would be on schedule for us to do this verse again. So what do you think we should do next week? There's two options. We can practice and dive into all the verses that we've already covered and just practice them and like practice the words, the word for word meanings, and just summarizing the ideas that are there and the flow of the conversation, the topic, or do we go to verse 30 instead? What would you prefer?
I like all the options you gave.
What's that?
Oh, I like all the options you gave.
So next week and so instead of skipping ahead, we take that class and then we use that as a refresher for everything. Huh?
So next Saturday we use that class as a refresher for everything?
Yeah, versus skipping ahead to verse 30.
Oh. I think whatever feels more comfortable for you. You're giving the class.
I'm fine either way.
Okay.
What do you say, Dana K? What do you prefer? We could focus on like the acronym, the themes that are there.
Yeah, that
Okay.
works. And like just refreshing. It's not really in the middle, but it's kind of in, we can pretend it's the middle of the, and then we could, get a refresher.
Yeah. Okay. You want to give a chant for the last verse? Verse 29? Dana K.
Okay. Wait, trying to blow it up. There it is. Vāsudeva param Jñānam. Vāsudeva param Tapa. Vāsudeva paro Dharma. Vāsudeva Parakratihi.
Nice.
Couldn't do that with my eyes closed though.
All right. You can practice that. Practice that. That's the thing about you can practice it, write it down somewhere, or maybe just write it as a note on your phone, like copy and paste it, and then just like practice it and go back to it and practice it and go back to it. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you for the class. I apologize for being late. Yeah, technical difficulties.
All right, I'll talk to Jamie, see if there's a way to, if there was a new passcode or a way to remove it or something.
Yeah.
The old link worked from last week. That's how I got in. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, so the link I sent you wasn't the correct link?
The link that you sent this morning asked for the passcode. The link, I scrolled up and used one of the other links and it let me in.
Okay, that's weird.
For me, both
All right,
links are like
I'll find it. I'll figure it out. So we're not sending people the wrong stuff. All right, good. So everybody chant today, sing today, have a wonderful day, meditate on Krishna. All these Vedas, everything, it's all for Krishna. So you're lucky you came to the end stop. You didn't have to go comb through all the Vedas and hopefully not get lost. Somehow or other we're here and we've got the end game right in front of us, the ultimate purpose of all sacrifices, of all knowledge, of all austerities, all religious activities, of
it's like
all
really hot.
yogic activities.
Like really hot. Yes. I put a little bit of honey in there, just a little. Oh, you're so kind. Thank you. Oops.
I think she was on.
Sorry.
All right, so thank you.
Okay.
Om Tat Sat. Thanks a lot. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Narottam.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, Prabhu, I just wanted to say briefly before we all go. So yeah, like as you know, Prabhu, I'm Indian bodied. I come from a Brahmana family, and so like in our home, we we have this from a traditional point of view, like the way to say Sanskrit and everything. So but I've been living here for a long time in the US, so I kind of lost touch of it. But I'm trying to reclaim it and write pronounce it in the proper way with the proper whatever, the spacing in between the mantras and everything, So, but I think I should. So, anyways, I'm just trying to do that. I just wanted to express that to you, so that's all. Grateful. Yeah.
All right. Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully we'll meet you in person someday.
Yeah, I look forward to it, hopefully soon. Absolutely.
All right.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
That's